Okay guys, just have a detailed look at what the editor is and what we can do. So what I've done is I've designed this YouTube thumbnail, right? So, and there are quite some elements in there. So I've selected the layers, and again on the left side we find all the tools to put elements on the canvas. Okay, so there's shapes, circles, text. If I click this shape, it's the play button shape, then the circle around it. Then we've got some text here that we can obviously change, and then we just double click and change it there. We can resize it. And we got some more shapes, circles, etc. Right? So this is a design that has a lot of elements on the canvas itself. Now, all of these elements we can animate individually. The question is if you really want to do that, because that's going to be really busy. The reason why I've created this premium template is for you to play around with, change the elements here a bit and make it and customize it as you like. So this is a design for our premium template club. But it's a good way to show you what the editor can do. So you've got the emoji, you got the background, you got the text. You know, you've seen that from other tutorial videos. What I really want to focus on is once you've put elements on the canvas, because most of you can do that by now, is what do you do next, right? So how do you change elements? And then going to the animation. Now, I do not suggest you do animation before you've finished your design. Okay, just do your design first, save everything, okay, and then start changing things on the animation, because that's really how the application has been set up. And because it's a browser based, we are relying on what the browser can do. Okay, so that's what I'd advise you to do. And again, if I go hover over the canvas here, you can see that the elements that are there can be selected. If you can't select them straight away, just go to the layer section and see which element you want to select. So whenever you select something lights up, right? Especially with a lot of elements, you really want to use these layers. It's the same in Photoshop. If you use the Photoshop, always know which layer you're currently using. So once you've selected something, I'm just going to select the shape. So in this case, I've selected the triangle shape here that I've created. And on the right side is where I can change certain things of this element. Now, this doesn't take any effect if you haven't selected an element. So always select an element in order to change that with the right side toolbar. Okay? Depending on the element that you select is what you can change here. If I select here the text element, you can see that properties change, because the properties of a text element are different from a shape. You see that? So it changes here. The functions of what shows here is the same. So if I look here and I look at appearance, I obviously can change that, the same as I can change that here, right? So, but we'll go and have a detailed look on what we can do. So again, I've selected a shape at this moment, which populates the right side toolbar. So I can, take visibility off, I can copy it. The dimensions sometimes is really handy to do it on this side rather than with your slide and with your arrow on the canvas, because here I now know it's a perfect square, right? 82 by 82 pixels. Because this is a thumbnail, the size of this design is 1280 by 720. Okay, that's the suggested size from YouTube for YouTube thumbnails. So that's why I'm doing this. So what this does, it moves stuff to the left or to the right of the canvas. Okay, in this case I want to have it center, then I know it's dead center here, right? So that's what it does there, and then I can rotate it. It's a circle, that doesn't do anything. Then I can change the opacity. I can do it lighter, so it's basically the transparency, right? And left, right, I can do it full. But because this is a play button, I just put some opacity in so that people can see a little bit of the face of the actor here. Then the arrange buttons. The arrange buttons is moving it back and forward. You can use these. You can also go here. That's what I prefer, because then I know, okay, where does the circle show up? At this moment, the circle shows up. You know, there's this shape and the shape and the circle, right? So that's, I know it's basically up the top. If I want to move it to the back, I can just slide it to the back. Now I know it's going behind the text, behind the shape, behind another shape, right? So that's why I prefer to do this, because then I can see where exactly on the canvas it is in terms of a layer. The other thing you can do is obviously use these buttons. If you do, you will see the highlighted element here on the layer moving down. You see? It goes down and now it goes up. So it does the same thing. And then you can obviously delete the element. The other thing you can do in order to arrange it is right click on the element, and then you see also arrange. Okay, so there are multiple places where you can do the same thing. Just select the one that's more comfortable for you. Here is also where you can clone an element. If you've already used one, you want to do it again, clone it here, etc. Okay. Then on the appearance side, now this is a circle that I've created, and it has a transparent intersection. So if I just want to show you how that works, is really where I use the appearance. So let me just add a shape. In this case, I'll add a circle. So draw mode is exited. So if I'm not in draw mode, it doesn't draw the circle. So I just do here and then to draw the circle. Yeah. Then it's ended. That means I can't draw a circle anymore. So there's a window of opportunity to draw your circle there. So here's where my circle is, and if I want to change the circle in terms of its appearance, I obviously go to the right. Now I know now it's not a perfect circle, only when I do 132 with 132, right? And then here on the appearance, I can do a couple of things. Now it already has a background fill, so that's the fill of the circle itself. I can obviously change that. I can also make that transparent. That's what I've done here on that circle. I'm making it transparent. The reason why is because I want to have a line over it. So it's a transparent circle on the inner side. To put the line on it, I just have to click the plus button here and go to the stroke. You can see that the stroke now is highlighted. And I want to do a color white. And I want to have that appear. You see? So that's how I make the line around the circle. If you want to change the background fill color again, you have to click on these elements here. So if I want to make it red, there we go, make it red, right? So that's how you select these elements. These elements are not there automatically. You have to select them, and then you can change the element of that. So you can blur it, you can shadow it, you can do opacity there as well. Okay, so that's what you can do on these elements and on these properties. So once you've done that, let me take this away. Is, you know, save your canvas, and then go down here in order to animate it. Okay. So whenever you do something wrong, you can just you can delete the animations without selecting animations. You can even X out if you want, right? So if the browser does something for one reason or another, and sometimes it's messed up because of the browser functions, then you can just delete it, especially when you do animations. So for example, if I want to have this guy, which is somewhere in the background, I'm just going back to my layers. It's going to be an image. So this is the image that is now currently selected. And I know this is an image. So if I do a slide from left, then it's moved to the left and it will slide in, right? There we go. So that's the animation I want to have. I don't want to have a ton of animations in there because it doesn't look good if you have a lot of animations. It's really the simplicity that really works and grabs attention. Now the reason why I want to show this is because I want to explain to you these tools, because these tools have nothing to do with the canvas. It has all to do with what goes on below here. Okay, now I've selected the image. If I move up, you can see all the elements that can be animated, don't have to be animated, but can be animated. So here is where I know it's there. This yellow line is really where in the timeline you're currently at. If you want to make a picture of where the timeline is, you use this button. Then it creates a picture of current situation. Okay, if you do it down here and you create an image, it's at the last stage of the animation. So that's the difference between this image and that image that you can create. Also, you can create a recording of that certain space that you have selected. Now you can select it, and the reason why you see these two dots is because you have selected it. If I do this, then the reason why it's creating here an element is because I haven't selected the selection tool. Okay, if I just select this here, clear this animation. If I now click on the timeline, it doesn't do anything. If I take this off, it automatically there's an appearance of a animation. Doesn't really do anything, but it's showing you that you can at this moment animate. So just taking that away, this animation does do something because we have got that element in there. Now the other thing you can do is this animation itself, and again we're talking about animation, we're not talking about what happens here, is we can copy the selected frame. So we have selected this frame, it's called a frame. We can copy that and then we can move the bar and we can paste it. Now when we paste it, there's an extra feature that you can do here is you can reverse the way it came up, right? So it came up from left to the right. If I now click reverse, it's going to go the other way. The other thing you can do is also adjust the speed. If I want to have it quicker to go away, so basically this animation is 4.5 seconds now rather than 9.5 seconds, and apply it. And I said 9.5 seconds, but that's not really what it is. You can see it's just a second, right? But it's just the speed in which it moves. So if I now play it, it moves in slower, then it fades out. You can see that, right? So that's an extra element that you can attach to that. Obviously you can select it, move it around wherever you want to do it. And you can do that without selecting the selection tool, but I use the selection tool that if I just click on somewhere on the timeline, that it doesn't add a bar, a element, in this case a frame. Okay, so, and again, if you want to clear all animations, don't select anything, right? So in this case, I've not selected any animation. And if I now do this, it clears every animation that's in there. Okay, so you can delete individual animations. By selecting the element animation and then deleting it. Okay, so that's basically what it is. So a lot of questions about the marker. The marker is really there that if you have so many elements, so many animations, so many frames that you can add to these elements, is that at a certain moment in time, if you think, okay, hey, here is where I want to move something else in, you just add a marker, so you can just go up and you say, okay, here somewhere I want to add another animation, right? So I don't know which shape this is. Oh, it's this one. If I want to have that, you know, glowing at that stage, then at least I can know, okay, there is about where I want to have it glow. Okay, that doesn't do anything else than just put a marker in there and say, okay, here is where about you want to put another animation in. There's nothing else that this marker does. And obviously you can do the plus as the same as here, plus as well. So that's how this bottom part works. So I hope you get a better understanding of, you know, left, right, and bottom sections and how this animation works. The slider here zooms into the timeline. So the more I slide it up, is the less seconds is basically showing down here, and therefore it makes the events here, the frames here, bigger. So it's basically a zoom bar. If you really want to have it zoomed in and out, that's what it does here. Okay, I hope that helps. Thanks, guys.